Okay. Happy Thanksgiving. We have a lot to be thankful for this year, especially polls like this and what they reflect. What these polls reflect, and this is not only a national trend, this is a worldwide trend. There is a distinct decline in those who consider themselves religious. And as education starts to seep in the cracks where people are, they start to learn about reality and they start to drop the silly fancy of religion. So we're incredibly thankful on Thanksgiving for this. Uh, this is not recent, this particular poll, but there are a number of new ones that are out concerning this very thing. America's getting back to our roots. We fled England because of religious tyranny and oppression by the Cathia law. The Catholic Church was exerting its Cathia law and trying to manipulate and dictate to every person based on its religious dogma, which is man-made gibberish that's hugely out of date, primitive, and a throwback to centuries ago where people dressed in loincloths and walked around the earth without shoes on. This is a different era. We have science and we look at reality. We look at reality-based things, not make-believe. We don't create things to explain things that we can now explain readily, easily, and with verifiable, observable proof. These are demonstrable things. So we're celebrating America's freedom. Our immigrant fathers came here from England and got away from the Catholic Church and started a very secular country. They despised Christianity for the most part. Most of our founding fathers were very anti-religious. Some were borderline, some were spiritual in different ways, but none of them really believed in any dogma. There are a couple. But when you look at the numbers of them, it would end up being maybe 10, 12% of a lot of them, maybe even fewer than that. So we're celebrating that. We're celebrating the U.S. melting pot, the diversity here, having come to a land previously occupied by Indians, Mexican Indians, Alaskan Indians, and American Indians. And now we're thriving amongst them. So that's a great thing. America has prospered heavily from having different cultures come here and create a web of uniqueness that isn't seen elsewhere. That's what gives us our strength. You look at other countries, their strength comes from different things. China's is manufacturing. They're a force for manufacturing, as you can see, because four-time bankruptcy filer Donald Trump was at least smart enough to take advantage of the Republican policies to outsource to China, clearly for the child labor, because you pay pennies on the dollar. So given the opportunity over American labor or Chinese labor, four-time bankruptcy filer Donald Trump chose Chinese labor. There you see one culture doing one thing and dominating. That can be seen as good or bad. It doesn't matter. That's not really the issue. The issue is that America is the opposite of that, the antithesis, where we bring everyone in here. We have celebrated that diversity, and that's what gives us our uniqueness. That's what gives us our brilliance, and that's what makes America such a desirable place to be to citizens that live elsewhere in other countries. That's what America's about. That's what our founding fathers were about. That's what they did. They came from another country, oppressed by religious Christia law and Cathia law, and started a place free of religion. Now we're getting back to our foundation here, a secular country that doesn't allow religion to infect it, to create disease within the heart of freedom. We don't need dogmas telling people what to do. We can figure out for ourselves what's right and wrong. We don't need any moral compass from a group who's known primarily for their outrageous acts of pedophilia child molestation. It's grisly. We need to move away from religion, and now we finally are showing it. There's such a strong decline that the percentage of Americans that identify themselves as white Christians has now gone from 55% to 46%. We also predicted this. In fact, 9 years ago, we predicted this very moment and said America would no longer be a majority of Christians in 10 years. So we beat that by about 6 months, 7 months, which is a really good thing because we don't need psychotic, tyrannical religious kooks doing anything. Those are the people who run ISIS. The heavy use of religion is generally relegated to third world countries that express and demonstrate third world thinking. It's primitive thinking, it's out of date, it's ancient, it serves no purpose, and there's no use for it. What it does do is act as a divider between people. We already have enough problem and tension and disharmony from racial differences. Why would you think that this is some kind of benevolent creator in the first place? You ever looked around? You take a look at the planet? It's covered in cactus needles, poisonous snakes, sharks that will bite you in half, hurricanes that will blow you away, that kill everything in their paths, tornadoes, volcanoes, lightning, devastating acts of atmospheric destruction, environmental havoc that takes lives every single second, earthquakes and tsunamis. These are not gentle motions of the earth. These are gigantic, sweeping, powerful events that destroy lives and kill thousands and thousands of human beings that were allegedly created by the same force that's wiping them out. Makes a lot of sense. Or you can look at it realistically, like people are starting to. These are random acts. You don't need gods to invent themselves first to then go on and invent something else. If something's going to have that singularity from the very beginning, the singularity, there doesn't need to be a creator. Simply, we understand that there are people too stupid or thick or ignorant to grasp this simple point. If one thing can come from absolutely nothing, this mystical thing to invent itself, then the other thing can too, which would be the universe, and it would skip the incredibly silly, childish, whimsical, fanciful step of this thing inventing itself just to then make more things. It doesn't hold up. It's stupid, pointless, circular reasoning. Religious kooks need this, but bright people don't. And bright people won't in the future. The only people who are going to cling to this third world nonsense in the future are people who will be in the lower end of the totem pole anyway. They won't really be functioning in normal society. You won't see them. They'll be in prisons or institutions, or they'll be shunned or looked down upon as the people who were too slow to get it. People that were running after the bus while it only went a mile an hour but somehow still couldn't catch it. These are those people. And some of them are too stupid to get it, genetically programmed to literally be too dumb to grasp certain things that are easily seen by those with their eyes open. You have to start thinking about things reasonably if you want to come across to other people as making sense. When you speak in religious terms, you're speaking mumbo jumbo. You are telling people that you believe Santa Claus is real and you have a relationship with him. You're literally telling people, I am sick. It's like putting a sign on your head that says you're sick. It's literally that simple. This is not difficult stuff to see if you give reason a chance. If you're using logic and reason, it is so incredibly obvious that there's no need for a God. It's just the silliest, most childish thought. It seems to be more useful for people who are weak, cowardly, fragile. They need to depend on this thing outside of their life now. Their life now is all they get. That's it. If you're not making it happen here, that's it. If you're reliant on this external fantasy for fulfillment somewhere down the line, give it up. There isn't. What you need to do is either pursue mental health care and get back on track, or get back on track on your own. Realize what's going on around you. This is your reality. There is no heaven or hell. That's just gibberish, created by manipulative leaders to scare stupid people into doing what they want, which they're still doing, incidentally. So get away from it. Free yourself. And be thankful. Be thankful that America will be right alongside you, turning normal. Not becoming more religious. Becoming less and less religious. If you really want to see more ISIS, more Taliban, more Al-Qaeda, we don't think so. We think the trend is this worldwide. You see it. This is going to be what's prevalent. And anyone who's on the side of reality is going this way. Anyone who's not, you need to seek help. You really do. Religion is dangerous. Let's scrub it off the underside of the toilet seat. It has to go.